That's right, everybody. The title didn't lie, the thumbnail didn't lie. Valve have actually announced a Team Fortress 2 update is on the way in the summer. The last time that they announced an update was over half a decade ago, I'm pretty sure. This is the first time that Valve have actually said an update is coming in this specific time period for a long period of time. Absolutely crazy. Twitter and everywhere has been going absolutely mad with the news because this is the most amount of news we've had from Valve regarding TF2 in such a long time that the buzz has been pretty crazy, pretty crazy. For those of you who haven't seen or haven't heard, there was a blog post posted on the teamfortress.com website, as you can see here, and it was talking about an update coming up. Now, the blog itself has been not really used that much. The last time there was a blog post was all the way back in July 2020, and that was to announce that the expansion pack for the songs for the music from TF2, and before that it was regarding adding the soldier statues for Rick May into the game. But before that, it was, you see, this is the fourth most recent blog post was back in 2019, and we're now in 2023, so a blog post in itself is pretty huge. But if you actually read it, it starts off by not really announcing itself regarding an update or anything like that. It just says, "Attention Steam Workshop creators." And once you get to the crux of it, the big paragraph is this one here. We have the classic kind of Valve lead up, but this paragraph is the biggest one. And it says here, the last few Team Fortress summer events have only been item updates. Obviously, over the past few years, we've had summer cases being dropped. I think since about 2019, where a case will drop and that's it. That's all you get from the thing. You get some cosmetic items and that's been it. Says, but this year we're planning on shipping a full-on update-sized update with items, maps, taunts, unusual effects, wall paints, and who knows what else. And then it goes on to say it means you're going to need Steam Workshop content from the Steam Workshop contributors. Obviously, there's plenty of creators out there who have created so many of the amazing items that have been added into the game. Now, this has been this has exploded. And I guess I'm just going to do a short video just to kind of discuss, maybe hype, maybe temper people's expectations, because a lot of people have been throwing around the word, there's a major update coming, and nothing here says major, but I can understand why people may be thinking it. So we're going to be pessimistic, we're going to be optimistic, we're just going to be potentially realistic over what is actually going to be coming in the summer so that people don't get too disappointed and don't misunderstand, perhaps. Now, the last major update that was added in TF2 was the Jungle Inferno update, which was back in late 2017. So it's been well over 5 years since the last update, and since then people have been talking about this elusive heavy update, because at the time when that happened, there was a war between Pyro and Heavy, and whichever one of those characters won was going to get their update first, and then the next character was going to get their update next at a later date. Now, obviously, this elusive heavy update has never come out. TF2 is 15 years old, and 5 of those years, a third of its lifetime, has been updateless in terms of a major update. So a lot of people have given up on the idea of a heavy update ever coming out, and Valve have actually come around and saying, if we ever do another major update for TF2, it may not even be the heavy update. Like, we don't know. We're just going to, So there's a good chance we may never see the heavy update, but who knows what the future holds. But this obviously isn't it. So for people who are saying it's the heavy update, it clearly isn't. Okay, so let's just chalk that one off before we even get into it. But the thing that's got people excited is the fact that it's said it's an update-sized update. An update-sized update. What does that mean? What does update-sized mean? Now, a lot of people have been taking this to mean a major update. But, a major update in the past from from Valve included new weapon additions, new changes, balances to weapons and classes and things like that, and lots of changes, an entire event using the contractor and all that kind of stuff like that. And I'm going to be honest, the first time I read through this, that's what I got hyped for, because I thought update size update. And it said items. And I thought, items, does that mean new weapons? Are we going to get, new items being added into the game? And after I had my moment of kind of hype, and I saw some responses from people who, maybe were a little bit more level-headed than I in those first few moments. It does say here, the last few Team Fortress Summer events have only been item updates. So they use this term item, and the summer events over the past few years have just been cosmetic or war paint additions. And those are, at the end of the day, items. So, from what I understand, from what I can read from this, it's not going to be any new weapons. It's not going to be anything like that. So, let's get to the point. What is this update going to be? Is this update going to be massive, or what's it going to be most similar to? Like, well, at the moment, on a calendar year, since about 2018, 2019, the updates that TF2 has been receiving have been mostly patches, things like that, bug fixes. But in terms of actual sort of content, things being added into the game, we get 3 a year essentially. We get the summer cases that have been dropping, which, like I said before, was just the cases with cosmetics or war paints and nothing else. Scream Fortress in Halloween, where for an entire month of October, leading into November a little bit, you get new cases for cosmetics and war paints again, but also the activation of Halloween mode. So you can play against the Halloween bosses. You activate the contract with the Halloween contracts again, so you can redo all of those, and you get all sorts of prizes. And then the next update is Smithmas, which again has cosmetic and war paint cases often, and those are the new items that are added into the game. And they also activate the Smithmas map, so you get all of the snowy themed maps on the casual servers, and you can select that as a playlist. And it's all very Christmassy themed. There's a lot of Christmas themed stuff happening in the game. So they've essentially turned on Smithmas mode like they turn on Halloween mode. So obviously there is a big difference between what happens in the summer normally and what happens during Halloween and Christmas time. And I think the most obvious answer is that this summer update is going to be something on the size of Scream Fortress and Smithmas. It's just going to be cosmetics and war paints potentially being added into cases. Those are going to be released, and then maybe some new maps, some new, like as it says here, maps, taunts, unusual effects, war paints, all of that stuff that is going to be added into the game, just like Scream Fortress and Smithmas. So it's not going to be a major update that those of you who've been in the game for over a decade will remember the massive older updates that used to come out, but it's probably going to be an update of a similar size to Scream Fortress and Smithmas that we've been having over the previous years, rather than just having cases being added. It's going to have, slightly more, some maps, some things in that. So that is, I think, the most realistic, expectation from what is going to be happening, what is going to be dropping in the summer. The thing that kind of hypes a little bit, and this is, are you a glass half full or a glass half empty kind of person? It says here, who knows what else? That's a very leading statement that could lead people down all sorts of avenues of guessing and, who knows? Like it says, who knows? They don't know, and honestly, I guess that's just left them open to adding anything that they may want to add. But as it says here, items, so that's going to include, cosmetics, other wearable items for the TF2 characters, some maps, which again we haven't had in summer, taunts, unusual effects, and war paints, which is stuff that we've had over the last few Smithmas and Scream Fortress updates. So my questions are, does the who knows what else, is that going to be, because is it going to be contracts? Like, are we going to add some contracts? Because that would be amazing if they added in some contracts for summer so that people could activate the contractor and then just be like, yeah, I can do my contracts, get some prizes, gives you something to work towards, because that is always the biggest peak we get in TF2 of people wanting to play is during Scream Fortress when they add those contracts back in. And I've been saying this for years and years and years. Why not just have these events like summer, Christmas, Halloween, turn on the contractor, have contracts for those time periods, and people can just do them, and it gives you something to work towards. You know, it's not the same level as a battle pass as you get in other games, but it's a nice little thing for people to play towards and get a little rewards back. Maybe it's something along the lines of that. That would be really cool. That's me, like, with a little bit of hope. But a lot of people have been hyping it up on Twitter. A lot of people have been trying to keep their feet on the ground and temper expectations. And I think these are all reasonable responses. It's just nice to hear from Valve about TF2 because it's been so long. The last contact we had was when they responded to the Save TF2 hashtag that was going around on Twitter for a period of time last year. And Valve responded saying, we do hear you. We are working on fixing the bot problem, which has obviously been an absolute menace for the casual servers over the past few years. So that was the last time any kind of response was had. And now it's just nice to hear back from them. So good luck to all of the Steam Workshop creators out there. I'm friends with a bunch, and I know a lot of people who've got their stuff into the game, and it's a really, really nice achievement to have, to be able to create content and have it added into one of your favorite games. So best of luck. If you want to try and get in, it says here, get your submissions into the Steam Workshop by May the 1st. And it says they may be considered for this as yet unnamed, unthemed, but still very excited, summer situated update. So it could be a summer themed update. It could be some sort of theme that Valve will take a look at all of the content submissions in the workshop and say, actually, we could pull a bunch of these cosmetics together and make it, pirate themed, or make it, I don't know, anything. Among Us themed. No, not Among Us. Any sort of theme that they can see, they may pull together. So, obviously they're being clear. It's not necessarily going to be summer themed, but it could be summer themed, but it could also be other things. And the fact that it could be some sort of theme means maybe they're going to be doing this more in the future. Maybe in the future, they're going to be doing more things like this. Maybe every summer, maybe they'll do one in the spring. Who knows? But it's a cool idea that they could just say, hey, we're going to be doing an update. Get your submissions in and, do it by this date, and you have the best chance of getting your stuff added into the game. So I'm just going to end on asking you guys, what do you think? Like, it's a very short blog post. People have been trying to dissect it, and I've already been talking over 10 minutes trying to dissect this myself. And it could just be a very simple thing of like I said, a small update coming out. But what do you think? Do you think this is going to be a regular occurrence? Do you think this is Valve just kind of pandering and trying to say, hey, we do care about you guys when, this is the first time they've done it in ages? Or do you think this is actually going to be a change? Do you think this is actually going to be the way Valve are going to operate with TF2 in the future? Let me know what you think in the comments. I would really, really like to know what your guys' thoughts are, because nobody knows all of the answers, and it would really, really be nice to hear other people's opinions. But as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you're as excited as I am for future TF2 content. But, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.